The night the internet shook didn't start with a breakup, a scandal, or a leaked DM. It started with one man, Ray J, standing in the center of a storm that's been brewing for nearly 2 decades. And this time he didn't whisper. He didn't hint. He didn't tease. He came with full-volume accusations, decades of receipts, and the kind of explosive claims that threatened to crack open one of the most carefully polished Hollywood narratives of all time. Tonight, the spotlight is burning hotter than ever on Kim Kardashian and Kris Jenner, the mother-daughter power duo who built a billion-dollar empire from glam, hustle, and reality TV domination. But according to Ray J, the empire wasn't just built on beauty and business savvy. It was built on a lie. A lie, he says, cost him his peace, his reputation, and the ability to tell his side. And now, after years of silence, years of keeping the machine running, years of being painted as the villain, Ray J says, enough is enough. And the jaw-dropping part? He says Kim and Kris were fully in on the sex tape release all along. This isn't a casual accusation. This isn't vague shade. This is Ray J straight up alleging that Kim and her momager didn't just approve the tape, they organized, negotiated, and helped commercially release it. He claims that the biggest scandal of early 2000s pop culture, the moment that pushed Kim from Paris Hilton's stylish best friend into the center of global fame, was not a leak, not a betrayal, not an accident, but a business decision. If this sounds like the plot twist no one saw coming, that's because for nearly 20 years, the world consumed a very different version. The version where Kim cried on TV about a violation of privacy. The version where Kris held her daughter, devastated. The version where Ray J was publicly painted as the reckless ex who exploited a young woman for fame. But Ray J now says that entire narrative was manufactured, not to protect Kim, but to launch her. And tonight, we're breaking down exactly what he says, exactly what he claims they agreed to, what the settlement allegedly involved, why he says the Kardashian legal machine weaponized lawsuits against him, and why he's now coming out swinging harder than ever. So buckle in, because this is one of the most explosive celebrity revelations of the decade. And it has more twists, more hidden chapters, and more behind-the-scenes drama than even the Kardashians could fit into a Hulu special. According to Ray J, the timeline doesn't begin in 2007 when the tape dropped. It starts in 2003 when the tape was filmed. Back then, Kim wasn't the global mogul she is today. She was known mostly in LA social circles, a friend of Paris Hilton, a stylist, a girl with a great sense of fashion and a lot of ambition. She and Ray J were dating, and the tape was consensually filmed, something both sides have acknowledged. What Ray J claims now is that the tape's existence wasn't a secret within their relationship, and certainly not something that emerged suddenly or unexpectedly. Fast forward to 2006. Kim was still hustling in fashion, still building her name. And according to Ray J, this is where the story takes a sharp turn away from the public narrative. He says that the actual release of the tape, the act that changed pop culture history, was not done behind Kim's back. Instead, he claims it was a carefully discussed decision involving Kim, Kris, and himself. And here's where it gets even more surreal. Ray J alleges Kris Jenner didn't just approve the release, she took charge. He says she handled the business side, coordinated the deal, and strategized how to turn this scandal into a launchpad. According to his version, it wasn't about shame, fear, or loss of control. It was about opportunity. He insists that the public story told later, where Kim was blindsided and heartbroken, was designed for sympathy, for ratings, and for the early formation of the Kardashian brand. He claims the family's entire victim narrative was pure PR storytelling. And while that's already explosive, he doesn't stop there. Ray J claims the relationship with Kim didn't just fade. It ended under the weight of legal agreements, settlements, and strict rules about what he could say publicly. He alleges that a settlement was reached among him, Kim, and Kris, involving millions. Specifically, he claims Kim agreed to pay him $6 million. And in return, he says he had to remain silent and abide by a clause that restricted public discussion of the tape on their reality show. Imagine watching yourself become a villain on TV, knowing, according to Ray J, that the narrative wasn't just incorrect, but contractually protected. And imagine the world collectively believing it. Ray J says he lived that for years. But then, according to him, things escalated again when Kris Jenner and Kim filed a defamation lawsuit against him. He says the lawsuit wasn't just unfair, it was an intentional tactic to silence him further and crush his credibility. He calls it a weapon, used in the same way their storytelling has been used for years, strategically, powerfully, and with the backing of a legal team that misses nothing. And what does the Kardashian team say about all this? Their attorney has already responded, ripping into Ray J's claims as rambling, disjointed, and baseless. They insist he has no proof, that he has no case, and that he is simply stirring the pot with empty accusations. Their message was clear: this is nonsense, and he will lose. But here's the thing. Ray J says he's ready to show proof. He claims he has documentation, agreements, conversations, receipts, and years of stored evidence. And for the first time in a long time, he's not hiding behind PR teams or legal filters. He's speaking raw. He's speaking directly, and he's not backing down. That's why this moment feels different. This isn't a one-time outburst. This isn't a random online rant. This is Ray J stepping fully into the narrative and attempting to reclaim the part of his own history that he says was taken from him. Because for years, the Kardashians have controlled the narrative in interviews, reality shows, talk shows, and press releases. They've been the storytellers of their own lives, masters of image, and exceptionally good at turning scandals into stepping stones. They've built a global brand out of reinvention, resilience, and media savvy. But this is not a storyline they scripted. Ray J's claims reopen a chapter they've tightly closed. It calls into question the foundation of their fame. It challenges the authenticity of the emotional moments sold to millions of viewers. It invites the public to reevaluate what was real and what was manufactured. And whether people believe Ray J or not, his accusations plant a seed of doubt. And in Hollywood, doubt can be dangerous. Ray J says this isn't about clout, revenge, or publicity. He claims it's about clearing his name after years of stigma. He says he was forced into the shadow of a story that painted him as predatory and reckless. He says he stayed silent because he was legally bound, financially pressured, and outmatched by the Kardashian PR machine. But now, according to him, the truth matters more than the consequences. He says the real betrayal wasn't releasing the tape, it was rewriting the story afterward. He says the lie didn't just hurt him personally, it damaged his reputation, his business, and his peace. And as the Kardashian empire grew, he says he was left carrying the weight of a narrative he never agreed to. And maybe the most shocking part is the humanity beneath it. There's a sense that Ray J is tired. Tired of being a punchline. Tired of being the villain. Tired of being the name everyone mentions when mocking a scandal that, according to him, wasn't what the world thinks. But this isn't just about Ray J's emotional truth. This is a legal minefield, a PR battle, and a reputational chess match involving one of the most powerful families in entertainment. Every claim he makes is now being dissected. Every detail is being analyzed. Every side is preparing for what might come next. And as Ray J continues exposing, explaining, and sharing his version of events, the conversation is catching fire. Fans are debating. Critics are weighing in. Legal experts are questioning what could come to light if this ends up in a courtroom. And the Kardashian machine, usually so quick to control narratives, is unusually quiet publicly, responding only through lawyers. The silence alone is fueling speculation. Because if there were nothing to worry about, why respond through attorneys? Why not address it directly? Why not get ahead of the story? Ray J says the answer is simple, because this time, he has too much, and now the world watches. The question isn't just whether Ray J is telling the truth. The question is what this means for the Kardashian legacy, what it means for the public's perception of authenticity, what it means if the empire's origin story wasn't as organic as it seemed. This isn't just a scandal, it's a cultural re-examination. It's a moment where the icons of reality TV face a reality check. It's a moment where the man who's been blamed for nearly everything about that tape finally speaks without filters. And as he continues to peel back layer after layer, revealing more claims about contracts, negotiations, emotional manipulation, and the giant machine that crafted a global superstar, the story only gets deeper, more complicated, and more electrifying. Because in Ray J's words, this isn't the full story. Not even close. And with each detail he drops, each accusation he makes, each document he hints at, the picture becomes less about scandal and more about power, control, and the truth behind one of Hollywood's most profitable images. And what he says next stretches the story even further, raising questions about who really benefited, who really suffered, and whose version of events will survive the test of time, fame, and public scrutiny. And the next chapter begins here as the layers continue to unravel, revealing even more of what Ray J says really happened behind the scenes, what the Kardashian camp did in response, and how the entire situation spiraled into one of the most heated Hollywood conflicts in recent memory. Because once Ray J laid out his version of what happened behind closed doors, the conversation shifted from whispers to a full-blown Hollywood reckoning. And suddenly, people weren't just asking whether Kim and Kris were involved. They were asking how deep the strategy went, what conversations happened behind the scenes, and why the story played out so differently in front of the cameras. Ray J says the most painful part wasn't the release of the tape, it was the rewriting of history. He claims he watched the Kardashians rise higher and higher, season after season, endorsement after endorsement, with the sex tape story reappearing whenever ratings dipped or a storyline needed emotional punch. And each time, Ray J says he wasn't just left out of the narrative, he was cast as the villain. Imagine watching your name trend every few years, not because of your music or business ventures, but because a storyline needed shock value. That's what Ray J says he lived, and now he's done staying quiet. The public response has been polarizing. Some fans say Ray J is finally taking back his voice after years of being silenced. Others believe the Kardashians' version without question. But one thing is undeniable. The story has cracked open a side of Hollywood most people never get to see. Behind every glamorous red carpet moment, every glossy magazine cover, every perfectly edited reality TV storyline, there are real people, real contracts, real negotiations, and real consequences. And Ray J says he was one of the consequences the world never bothered to understand. And this brings us to one of the biggest questions floating around right now. If Ray J's claims are true, if there were contracts, settlements, negotiations, and an orchestrated plan, what does that mean for the Kardashian empire? What does it mean for the foundation of the family's fame? And what does it mean for the emotional storytelling that kept millions of viewers invested for nearly 20 years? The Kardashian attorney's dismissal of Ray J's claims was sharp, immediate, and confident. But the world knows something. When an allegation is tiny, you ignore it. When it's big enough to threaten the brand, you respond fast, and you respond with lawyers. And that's exactly what happened. Ray J, on the other hand, is preparing for more. He says this isn't even the full story, and that he's ready to release more details, more proof, and more behind-the-scenes insight. He says he has documents stored away, untouched for years, waiting for this exact moment. And whether the world believes him or not, his voice is forcing a conversation that won't be easy for the Kardashians to control. Because for the first time, the narrative isn't coming from a reality show confession, a magazine cover, or a Hulu storyline. It's coming from the one person who's been at the center of the controversy since day one. And now, everyone is watching. Fans, critics, lawyers, media outlets, even industry insiders who have known for years that Hollywood's polished image often hides the messiest truths. Ray J says he's reclaiming his name. The Kardashians say he's lying. And somewhere between those two extremes is the version of the story the world has never heard. One thing is certain, this isn't over. More details are coming. More revelations are on the horizon. And this drama, 2 decades in the making, is only now beginning to spill into the open.